This book is not another fairy tale about instant success. I'm tired of those ads promising fortune, youth, and happiness without effort for 3 easy payments. The truth is, there's no magic formula and no shortcut. Real success is built over time, through discipline and work. I'm not speaking to you as a theorist. For 20 years, I've studied human achievement, trained thousands of entrepreneurs, coached executives, and run Success Magazine, where every day I filter through the best ideas from the most accomplished minds. From all that experience, I've distilled the essentials, a handful of fundamental, unchanging principles that make up what I call the compound effect, the system that governs your life, whether you know it or not. This book will bring you back to those basics, far from the marketing noise. You don't need more information. You need a new plan of action. Expect demanding work, sometimes thankless, but with tangible and fast results if you truly commit to it. Drop your preconceptions, stay curious, and commit right now. It's as simple as that. Chapter 1. The Compound Effect in Action. I'm like the tortoise in the fable, not the fastest, not the most gifted, but patient. I owe that patience to my father, a former football coach who raised me alone from the time I was 18 months old. 5 a.m. wake-ups, endless chores, no excuses tolerated except a bone sticking out. He's the one who instilled in me, day after day, the virtues of the compound effect. The result? A millionaire before 30, a company generating tens of millions in revenue. But most people never had that upbringing, and it's only natural that they doubt the power of consistency. Our society, hypnotized by instant miracle marketing, has forgotten the value of patient work. The compound effect is exactly that. Small but smart choices, repeated consistently over time, that eventually produce a radical difference, even if, in the moment, nothing seems to be moving. Take the magic penny that doubles every day for 31 days versus $3 million cash up front. For a long time, the penny seems laughable until it explodes past 10 million on the final day. The same logic applies to my 3 fictional friends, Laurent, Simon, and Bruno. Nearly invisible habits, 125 fewer calories a day, a few pages of reading, radically transform a life over 31 months, while Bruno's small lapses trigger a destructive ripple effect, even reaching into his marriage. What makes the compound effect hard to adopt is precisely that delay before results show up. Our grandparents knew this. Work, discipline, good habits, with no expectation of immediate reward. But wealth and comfort tend to skip a generation because success often breeds complacency, and nothing fails like success, as shown by the history of so many empires, and a restaurant I watched collapse near my home. Reject the microwave mentality. There is no shortcut, no magic wand, no jackpot. There are only daily exercises, simple, sometimes boring, accumulated over time. Understand this principle, apply it, and you too can write your own fairy tale. Chapter 2. Choices. We're all born equal, naked, and ignorant. Everything that follows is simply an accumulation of choices. Every part of our life stems from a decision made, consciously or not. The real problem isn't that we deliberately make bad choices. It's that we make them sleepwalking without even thinking about it. Elephants don't sting. Mosquitoes do. It's not the spectacular disasters that ruin most of us, but the small, harmless-seeming decisions repeated without a second thought, the sugary drink swallowed without hunger, the 2 hours lost in front of the TV, the lie told for no reason. It's time to wake up and choose consciously. It's easy to blame others, but I learned, by secretly keeping a gratitude journal about my wife for a year, that focusing on the positive transforms the person doing the looking, first and foremost. That gift changed me just as much as it changed her, and our marriage has only gotten better since. Then comes the concept that changed my life at 18, taking 100% responsibility for everything that happens to me, without settling for 50-50 or even 80-20. 100%, zero excuses. That's what set me free. No more victim, no more circumstances to blame, only me at the controls. Even when a business partner squandered my investment in a startup, I chose to own my own negligence rather than sue. As for luck, it exists, as Richard Branson himself confirms, but it's not enough on its own. My full formula: preparation plus attitude plus opportunity plus action equals luck. Those who succeed are simply ready to seize what others let slip by. My secret weapon, always: a notebook and a pencil. Write down every action tied to the area you want to improve for at least 3 weeks, the time it takes to turn an action into a habit. I learned this the hard way when my accountant told me I owed $100,000 in taxes, with no idea where my money had gone. Tracking my expenses for 90 days changed everything. Awareness equals control. A dollar spent today is worth $5 lost 20 years from now. That daily $4 coffee, it will cost you more than $51,000 over 20 years. Always ask yourself, is this item worth 5 times its listed price? Small streams make great rivers. The difference between the world's #1 ranked golfer and the #10 golfer is only 1.9 strokes on average, yet their earnings differ by a factor of 5. Like Phil, a CEO I suggested simply thank 3 employees a week, which transformed his entire company culture within 18 months. Or Kathleen, my former assistant, who became a millionaire by first saving just $25 a month. Time is money. Starting early makes all the difference, but it's never too late. Improve by just 0.1% a day, and in 10 years, your results will have grown by 1,000%. Beverly is the perfect illustration. Once unable to climb a single flight of stairs without getting winded, she started by walking a mile, then went on to run a half marathon, transforming her marriage, her confidence, and her career along the way. Your choices, in every single moment, determine your habits. Losing is a habit. So is winning. It's up to you to decide which one you're cultivating from now on. Chapter 3. Habits. A wise man asks his student to pull up a young sprout, then a bigger tree, until finally a mighty oak he can no longer uproot. The lesson is clear. The more deeply rooted a habit becomes, the harder it is to destroy. As Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do, and 95% of what we feel, think, and accomplish comes from acquired habits, not instinct. Living on autopilot has its upside. It saves us from having to think through every mundane task. But most people, like a rider galloping without knowing where he's headed, let their habits run their lives without ever taking back the reins. Larry Bird, despite limited physical gifts, became one of the greatest basketball players ever through unshakable discipline, 500 free throws every morning before school. The trap is our need for instant gratification. If every bad habit had instant consequences, no one would ever fall for it. But like a plane whose nose drifts just 1% off course and ends up 150 miles from its destination, our small daily deviations quietly carry us further and further from our goals. To uproot the oak trees that are our bad habits, willpower alone isn't enough. You need a why powerful enough to overcome the pull of immediate comfort. I always illustrate this with a 10-inch wide plank lying on the ground. Everyone would walk across it for $20. But suspended between 2 skyscrapers, no one dares, unless a child is trapped in flames on the other side. What changes isn't the danger, it's your motivation. That why has to come from your core values, your inner compass. It can be born from love, but also from anger, at injustice, at mediocrity, at an opponent to defeat. Pete Carroll built his career on the frustration of being undersized. Anthony Hopkins turned the anger of being labeled a troubled kid into a legendary acting career. It doesn't matter whether your fight is noble, as long as it propels you forward. Once you've identified your why, clearly define your goals in every area of your life, not just work or money. Our brain only sees and attracts what it's actively searching for. Like that car you suddenly start noticing everywhere the moment you consider buying one. It's not magic. It's simply your mind finally filtering what was already there. But before asking yourself what to do, ask yourself who to become. It was by writing an exhaustive list of the woman I wanted to marry, and then becoming the kind of man capable of attracting her, that I met Georgia, my wife, a match for exactly what I had imagined. Your habits and behaviors never lie. If you say you want to be healthy but there are chip crumbs on your fingers, I'll believe the chips. Here are my 5 strategies for eliminating bad habits. Identify your triggers: who, what, where, when. Do a full clean sweep by removing physical temptations. Make the swap by replacing a habit with a healthier version. Taper off gradually for the most deeply rooted habits. Or dive in headfirst when hesitation only prolongs the pain. To build good habits, here are my 6 techniques. Set yourself up for success. Make the good habit easy to access. Think in terms of addition rather than deprivation. Publicly announce your commitments to hold yourself accountable. Find a partner who will keep you accountable. Set up healthy competition. And reward yourself along the way. Change is hard, and that's exactly as it should be. If it were easy, everyone would succeed, and you'd have no chance to stand out. Be patient. Building new neural pathways takes time. Push through, because it's precisely in the next chapter that the magic of the compound effect truly begins to show itself. Chapter 4. Momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful and mysterious factors in success. You can't see it, but you can feel it when it's there. Unstoppable. Newton's first law explains it. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. Lazy people glued to their couch stay glued to their couch. High performers keep moving and keep succeeding even more. Remember the playground merry-go-round. The hardest part is getting it moving. Once it's spinning, nothing can stop it. It's the same with a rocket, which burns more fuel in its first few minutes than during the entire rest of the flight. You have to break free of gravity before you can settle into orbit. Michael Phelps spent 12 years building his routine with his coach before winning 8 gold medals. Apple lost money in 2001 and 2002 before the iPod literally exploded onto the market in 2005. Same with YouTube, launched quietly, then propelled by a single viral clip. All of them kept pushing before and after liftoff. That's the key. But negative momentum works just as powerfully. Our uncontrolled bad habits also set off a whirlwind of unfortunate consequences, as we saw with Bruno. To trigger positive momentum, you need a routine. Without a system of execution, even our best intentions fall apart. Jack Nicklaus performed the exact same dance before every golf shot, timed to within less than a second, all tournament long. Unlike Greg Norman, whose routine fell apart at the 1994 Masters, leading to his defeat. A rigorous routine turns any behavior into a reliable automatic response. I'm happy to share my own routine. In the morning, 8 minutes of gratitude, sending love to someone, and planning my top 3 priorities for the day. Then stretching, inspirational reading, 1 full hour of complete focus on my most important project before even opening my email, followed by my daily calibration meeting. In the evening, I review my finances, jot down ideas, and read 10 pages before sleep. This fixed framework frees up the rest of my day. Once the routine is in place, give it a rhythm: weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, like the wheels of a locomotive that, once set in motion, can no longer be stopped. My wife Georgia and I have our Friday date nights, our Saturday family day, our Sunday evening couple check-in, our monthly memorable moments, and our quarterly getaways. Everything is planned, so nothing depends on in-the-moment willpower. But be careful not to go too hard, too fast. Richard, determined to get back in shape, wanted to train 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I warned him, better a sustainable pace for 50 years than an unsustainable sprint for 5 weeks. Consistency is the secret ingredient. Like a well that must be pumped relentlessly before the water finally gushes out. Stop for even 2 weeks, and you don't just lose those 2 weeks. You kill all your momentum outright. Then you have to start over from zero. Be the tortoise. With enough consistency, you'll beat anyone. The next chapter will cover the often unconscious influences that can either fuel or sabotage your momentum. Chapter 5. Influences. You are 100% responsible for your life, but 3 powerful external forces subtly shape your choices: your inputs, your relationships, and your environment. Master them, and you ensure they work for you instead of against you. First, your inputs. You are what you consume mentally, just as you are what you consume physically. Your mind is like a glass of water. Pour sensationalist news and tabloids into it, and you get dirty water that all your creativity must then pass through. Your brain, wired for survival, naturally seeks out negative information. That's why the evening news leaves you ruminating all night. Americans watch an average of 4.7 hours of television a day, nearly 30% of their waking hours. My solution is radical. I never follow TV or radio news. I've replaced it with a targeted RSS feed, and I listen to instructional CDs in my car, turning my commutes into a rolling university, the equivalent of 2 semesters of higher education every year. Next, your relationships. According to research by Dr. David McClelland of Harvard, your reference group determines nearly 95% of your success. Jim Rohn taught me this. We become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Their influence on our eating habits, our behaviors, our conversations, is as subtle as an ocean current pulling you away from shore without you even feeling it. It's time to evaluate your relationships in 3 categories. Complete disassociations, cutting ties with those who drag you down, as hard as that may be. Relationships to limit, deciding how much time you can afford to spend with certain people. And relationships to cultivate, actively seeking out those who embody who you want to become. I personally have my own excellence partner, Landon Taylor, whom I call every Friday for 30 minutes to share my wins and my failures. This mutual accountability keeps me engaged all week long. I've also built my own personal advisory board of about a dozen people I regularly turn to for their input. Remember, never ask advice from someone whose life you wouldn't want to trade places with. Finally, your environment. When I worked in real estate, I deliberately used to dine at Sam's, a restaurant in Tiburon, one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the San Francisco Bay Area, just to gaze at the stunning hillside homes. One particular blue house caught my attention every single time. One day, out of curiosity, while touring a property for sale, I found myself, without initially realizing it, standing inside that exact blue house of my dreams. I bought it on the spot. That environment didn't do the work for me, but it fed my ambition until I made the dream real. Building the right environment isn't just about where you live. It's also about mentally clearing out everything around you. Broken promises, unfulfilled commitments, all of which drain your energy like a vampire. And above all, remember this: life only gives you what you tolerate. If you accept being underpaid, overweight, or disrespected, that situation will persist. So prepare a welcoming environment for your momentum, because that's what will let you live at a level of sustained excellence. The next chapter will show you how to accelerate your results with just a little extra effort. Chapter 6. Acceleration. When I used to bike up Mount Soledad in La Jolla, I always hit that moment of truth where the mind starts inventing excuses to stop. That's exactly what Lance Armstrong experienced in the Alps, breaking away alone in the freezing rain to win the Tour de France when no one had picked him as the mountain favorite. These decisive moments reveal who you really are. Either you push through or you crack. When I worked in real estate, I hit my limits several times a day. Aggressive dogs, slammed doors, hung up calls. But I told myself that my competitors were facing the exact same obstacles, and that persisting would give me the edge. That's the exact same logic Lou Holtz used to rally his team from a 42-0 halftime deficit to victory, reminding them that it's not normal effort that counts, but that little extra push. Muhammad Ali used the same strategy against Foreman. Wear your opponent down to his limit, then strike. Here's the mathematical secret. Reaching your limit isn't the end. It's the beginning of real growth. Do your planned 12 reps at the gym, then push for 3 or 5 more. Those few extra reps multiply your results rather than simply adding to them. Go back to my magic penny example. Double its value just once more per week over the same period, and you go from $10 million to $171 million. One small extra effort multiplies everything. Go beyond expectations. Oprah Winfrey gave away a car to 11 audience members, then, against all expectations, revealed that the entire audience had won too. When I asked for Georgia's hand, I didn't just ask her father's blessing. I did it in Portuguese, then called each of her 5 brothers individually. Stuart Johnson, the owner of Success, didn't just buy back the magazine during a financial crisis. He also funded a foundation that distributes free books to teenagers. I'm contrarian by nature. What's popular is ordinary, and ordinary produces ordinary results. I sent cards for Easter instead of Christmas, precisely because everyone else does the opposite. When I was a real estate agent, I would personally drive over to deliver a sold sign to homeowners. an almost free gesture that dramatically boosted my odds. Richard Branson built his career on the unexpected. Steve Jobs always surprised beyond what was expected. Nordstrom will even issue a refund without a receipt a year after purchase. It's that little extra, that unexpected boldness, that turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. Look everywhere for ways to do just a little more than what's expected, and watch your results multiply beyond anything you imagined.